I'll tell you, we are live.
And we are live on a Monday. The dance moves keep on changing, and I think today I was supposed to. Thanks. Today I was supposed to just jump and dance like my entire body, get on top of tables and do whatever. Because today's Clinical Monday is a Clinical Monday with a difference. I think the team and I should just call it International Clinical Monday because we are an affiliated, how is it, how does it go, Happy? An affiliated event, independent event that is being featured there at this year's international, or rather, AIDS International AIDS Conference. I'm a little bit nervous here. And thank you so much for joining us. Well, it's a good morning from us, from myself, Figangosi, as the host, and my technical producer, or rather my technical super producer, Happy, playing behind the scenes. Thank you so much for joining us, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the continent or in the country where you're watching. Thank you so much for making this your part of your morning. Well, I'm not alone. I'm joined by three amazing clinicians from all our pop insights, or three of our pop insights, really. And they'll be helping me dissect these three topical points inside our little clinical basket. We'll be touching on ED prep, also known as event driven prep, and we're also touching on HIV recency, and we'll be also touching a little bit on gender affirming healthcare. This is us as popping trying to address the evidence and implementation gaps through pop ins program expansion, and these are the topics that I'll be diving in. You can join the conversation on YouTube, Twitter, and also on LinkedIn, and it will package nicely later on for Facebook. You can send through your comments, your questions, anything really that you want. You can most definitely hit us up. www.popin.org gives you the behind the scenes, and you can be part of the conversation and many other things that are happening right here at Popin. Well, let me not waste any more time. Let me just jump straight into it and give you who do I have on my chair of clinicians this morning. Like I said, Sister Mapaseka Mapena is a qualified clinical nurse practitioner, a nurse educator, and a nurse manager. NIMART trained certified clinical nurse mentor with 8 years experience. I think we need to change that, Sister Vice, because I think it's more than 8 years right now. And his experience working within the public health space, and also is passionate about HIV and TB management and ensuring that Triple 95 goal is reached, and that is Mapaseka Mapena, all the way from Orang Pop in Guleni. Estapasi, good morning to you, or good afternoon, or good evening, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, V. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and also R425. It sounds like a national route somewhere, going somewhere. That is what I think is a qualification, and I think we've been through this conversation with Mpo previously. He's a trained professional nurse practitioner, skilled in general nursing science, psychiatry, midwifery, and community, and is passionate about the promotion of health and the prevention of illnesses with a special interest in research. And he's currently working at Oram Pop in as a NIMART nurse, and he's also trained in HIV and TB management, NIMART and mentorship on PEP prep, art, and STIs. And that is Mpo Magai Mpo. It's a good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Durban.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. The house at large. Okay, thank you so much for having me.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Mpo, for joining us. Buhle Chachu, professional NIMART nurse, completed her honors degree in nursing since 2019, quite recent, and is considered hardworking and driven. Is a team orientated and great in verbal and written communication skills and sound clinical judgment. Is passionate about patient care, especially improving the lives of HIV/AIDS individuals. Is enthusiastic professional nurse. I think you're supposed to add in there a great dancer as well, because you do nursing quite differently. We dance here in Swani. So for those clips, please go on our social media platforms and check her out. She is a fun nurse. And also, she is hardworking and pays attention to detail with great organizational skills, and is willing to learn, and well, as an individual, and really is humble. And I think people love you for that. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, V.
Alrighty, let's not waste time, guys. Guys, I think my network is fine. I hope it doesn't betray me, Mr. Technical producer behind the scenes. I hope my network doesn't really jeopardize this engagement. But let's just jump straight into it. So first, I'm gonna start with you. We started with ED Prep about this year, almost like a long time ago, but it has not been that long. In simple terms, just explain to us what the ED Prep is and how is it consumed. Maybe touch also on the components or the makeup of that PrEP pill as well.
All right, thank you very much, V. Actually, we have started with ED Prep in the 1st of April this year. So ED Prep is an acronym that stands for Event-Driven Prep, or you can call it Prep on Demand, or we call it 2+1+1. So ED Prep is a safe alternative to daily prep. So usually people would take their prep on a daily basis. So now we have event-driven preps so that we can be able to suit the individual's needs. So ED Prep is the same tablet that you are taking for daily prep. So it's also an ART drug that has tenofovir and FTC. So it is the same drug. The only difference is that you take it in a different manner compared to daily prep. So you take it on demand. Yeah, I don't know if I responded to your question correctly.
You did. Let's. I want us to. We'll come back to you, Sister Basi. Can you take us through then the conversations that you are having with clients? Sister Basi speaking about event-driven prep being tailor-made, and for the needs of different individuals. So take us through these conversations that you have, or these steps that you have, then for somebody who is going to then start on prep.
All right. Thank you so much, Free. So usually a client would come in and they will tell you that they still have a bottle full of prep. They haven't been taking their prep on a daily basis. And you'd ask them why. And then the client would say, but I'm not sick. So why am I supposed to take these tablets on a daily basis? So thankfully, we have ED Prep, whereby now we are able to explain to the client to say, here's an alternative of you can take 2 loading dose 2 to 24 hours before you have sex, and then you can have another dose in 24 hours, and then the last dose in 24 hours as well. So ED Prep is specifically meant for people who are able to plan their sex. So it's not for all populations. So it's only suitable for only cisgender men and MSM and transgender women who are not on hormonal therapy. We need to get that very right to everyone, to say ED Prep is not for everyone. Yes, it is a good alternative, but it's not for everyone. So women do not qualify to be on ED Prep. Transgender women who are on hormonal therapy do not qualify for ED Prep. But we can promise you that different research has been conducted to safely secure the safety of the use of ED Prep for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarity. I think it's quite important that we really clarify it. Mpho, let me come to you then. What are they doing? I wanted to say, what are we doing differently than from daily prep? But I think Sister Basi has, went in length with responding to that as well. But if you don't mind, you can really touch on it from your view, really. Maybe as a Devon clinician or based in Devon, what is it that you guys are doing differently from daily prep? And also, what are the benefits of being on ED Prep specifically now?
Okay, cool. With regards to what are we doing differently, is I share the same sentiments with Sister Basi with regards to the research that has been done. That with this one, with ED Prep, proper assessment has to be done, proper screening has to be done for eligibility. Like she said, that not everyone is qualifies to be on ED Prep. Only men who sleep with other men, transgender women who are not in hormones. So when you talk about eligibility, remember that research, like she said, it was done only on men who sleep with other men. We screen for drug use just to see if the client is not using any drugs, that just to see that they're not on any hormones. And also the other thing that we do differently is the dose. Remember, with this one, we have a loading dose, of which is with daily prep, there's no loading dose. You just take your medication as prescribed daily. But with this one, there's a loading dose that you have to take 2 tablets prior to 24 hours prior to sexual intercourse. And also, lastly, we check at the frequency or the consistency. With this one, the key to ED prep is you have to be consistent. So meaning if you had taken it the previous day at 10 o'clock, let it be that each and every after 24 hours it's 10 o'clock. So with this one, you have to maintain the consistency of time. To say if it was at 10 o'clock, continue with 10 o'clock. And as to when it comes to the benefits that we get from ED prep, we look at effective, that it's effective. Research was done to say that it's effective for all men who are also there's literature to support that it's effective for men who sleep with other men. They can be protected from being infected from HIV. Also, it allows anxiety. Not only to serious discontent couples, but to everyone in general that's taking ED prep, to say that you are 100% protected if you are on ED prep, that you won't get HIV, given that there's other measures that you use as well, that you still continue your condom use.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got you. Buhle, take us through then the conversation with a client when you are now, when they are being put on prep, when they're initiated on prep.
Okay, so V, basically, the conversation with that is the client would first come in and the client will perform a HIV test by the counselor, right? That is according to the HIV guidelines, and the counselor will be going through the patient in terms of what their sexual history is, doing STI screening, counseling the patient, basically telling the patient on PrEP, telling the patient the 2 methods, PrEP or daily PrEP, right? And then once the client is negative, then they're eligible for PrEP. They'll come to the nurse, who will then inform the client on what the side effects of the tablet, adherence, combination prevention. So you also the nurse will also again make the patient understand again, make sure they understand the differences between ED prep and daily prep, and then the client would choose. And then once that is done, then initiate the client on PrEP, and then the nurse will also have to take bloods, which is being creatinine clearance and hepatitis B, and inform the client that, okay, these tests are basically standard procedure tests that you have to do for every client who tests on PrEP, and then start them on PrEP.
I got you. Also, do you think that then ED prep will have a large uptake as opposed to daily prep? Because I think, what also came out in this conversation is that some people would then opt out of prep, or, in your field, guys, where you work, that clients will then opt out on prep. But when you look at ED prep, do you think that is going to be, a larger, great uptake, even saving people that have been fallen off of prep or, opted out of prep, to say now come back here is a better alternative?
Yeah, I actually think that ED prep will have a large uptake because of the advantages of it. One being pill burden. I mean, people don't like taking a pill every day. And then it's even evident now in our clinics, most clients are switching from daily prep to ED prep. And a lot of clients are also on ED prep. So yeah.
I got you. Yeah, most definitely. I like the fact that we can also even switch with ED prep. From daily prep to ED prep. It's quite interesting to know that Sister Pasi Orampop in as the only key population service provider in South Africa, championing ED prep, and I think we're doing that quite amazingly. What is the aim? I know what the aim.
All right, V, just to answer your question, I see you have a network issue. So we are definitely championing ED prep. So the aim for us is to influence the South African guidelines, because currently WHO guidelines have approved the use of ED prep. So why not in South Africa if it is proven that it is safe? So we are trying to influence, because whether we like it or not, people go through internet and they search, and we have clients who have been using ED prep, without us even educating them. And we also find that they are more educated or more knowledgeable about ED prep than us, because they've been researching, the use of ED prep, because daily prep has been a frustration. And we are trying to ensure that we increase the uptake of prep, because remember, as you have mentioned before with Bukhetu saying, we have had so many prep opt out, and one of the reasons was the pill burden. So with ED prep, we are able now to retain more clients. We have more clients coming back for their follow up, and specifically, we want to give people that confidence, to own your life, to manage your own life, because ED prep, it's mainly about that, an individual managing their own sex life, managing their HIV prevention, ensuring that they are safe, because we are able to provide them with condoms and say go home and use them. We are able to provide them with HIV SS, so why not give them the alternative of ED prep? Yeah.
Most definitely. I want to touch on the switching, but before then, let me just quickly, remind people that today is a Clinical Monday with a difference, and I'm joined by 3 clinicians from 3 of our pop-in sites. Samapaseka Mapena from Eguleni, Pomankai from Durban, and Butle Chachu from Oram Pop in Tshwane. And thank you so much for joining the conversation. I see my screen is getting a little bit of taps there. I see hearts. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. If you are missing out, or you've missed out on the first chunk of the conversation, don't worry, we have you sorted. Super producer Happy Pandey will make sure that this conversation is being put up on Facebook and also on other social media platforms. But you can go to www.popin.org to find out more and follow us on other social media platforms as well, like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Actually, we're also on LinkedIn for the professionals there in the office who are either looking for jobs or just browsing through their LinkedIn. Most definitely be part of the conversation. But today, as an event for the International AIDS Conference, we are bringing you this special broadcast of Clinical Monday International like that. If you are also in any ways or anywhere else in the world, you can most definitely partake in the conversation and tell us where are you seeing this Clinical Monday. I'd be really interested to find out, because I know we could have quite a big of a footprint across Africa and abroad. Sister Pasi, I want us to touch on the switching, but I'm looking at my time. Just quickly touch on the switching a bit, and then we jump straight into HIV resensitizing and what is it about, and what would then what would it entail, especially traditionally with what we know about HIV. But before we get into that, quickly tell us the process of then switching from daily prep to ED prep.
All right, so I have our special chart here that we have designed as Aura Pop-In. So we have 2 types of switching. You can switch from event-driven prep to daily prep, or you can switch from daily prep to event-driven prep. So it specifically depends on an individual. So let us say you are a person who's able to plan their sex and you opting for ED prep, then you can go for ED prep. And then you find that an individual sometimes would say, Ish, now I currently have this permanent partner that I'm staying with, and we are having this unplanned sex, it sometimes just arouses just from nowhere, right? And then you are able to then switch to daily prep, right? So meaning you can still take your loading dose and continue having sex So the main aim here is for you to ensure that you take your tablet on a daily basis should you wish to change from ED prep to daily prep. So daily prep you continue to take as long as you continue having sex, you take. And then you're going to take 2 last doses on the last day, right? On your last day of having sex. So if you last had sex today, which is a Monday, then you're going to continue taking your prep tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then you are welcome to stop and then go back to your ED prep. Yeah, I think in short, that is how I can explain.
Most definitely, I got you. The screen is not really doing justice to that chat, but I think we need to have then a separate. I don't know if we can put it online, Mr. Producer, so that everybody can see. But I think we have other content that really covers what Sister Pasi is talking about, especially when it comes to the switching there from ED prep and daily, and really information around daily prep. Sister Pasi, still on you. Thank you very much for that. Demonstration with the thing with the with the chat, with the flip chat. I want us to then touch on recency, because I think recency also, just like the name, is a recent thing for us right here at COPIN. But what is recency, and how has it then changed the flow of traditional HIV and how we know it?
All right. We've been fortunate as ORAM-COPIN to be one of the sites that was chosen by CDC in order to also participate in the recency pilot study. So recency, basically, we are trying to integrate recency testing into your normal HIV testing services so that we are able to know and determine the number of recent infections that we have so that we can be able to manage our clients appropriately. For instance, if we have a client that has got a recent infection, then it gives us that I don't know the right word to use. It gives us the idea or the background that this client is most highly viral, the virus is high, and probably they're also immunocompromised, and the chances of also transmitting to their partners is 40 to 60%, then it definitely means this client needs an immediate attention, because with client with recent infection, most likely they also remember their sexual partners, and they'll be able to drive us to their sexual partners through index testing. Then that is the only way now we can be able to track them and stop the spread, because we're going to find your partners and test them and put them on ART, and if they test HIV negative, then we're going to put them on PrEP.
Mm-hmm. I think you also then answered a question that I needed to ask Mpho on then, what are we trying to achieve, with the recency testing? But I think you touched on that. Mpho, let's talk about it then, with recency testing. I think I might twist this question and talk about then, is it accepted in the space, in your space with clients? Are clients, more interested to find out actually, when were they are infected, and find out more about recency? How are you finding it?
I'm finding it to be very effective. To say, Sister Pasi keeps on taking on my points, but I give it to her.
I know.
But
yeah.
And it's actually working. Like she had said, that we not only we are focusing on how recent the infection is, but it helps us with our index testing. It helps us with our tracing of the contacts. So we found this person that's living with HIV. Now we test, and then we find out that the infection is recent. It's easy for us to target the people that they are being sexually interactive with. Through that, we do our testing of those contacts, and we after testing them, we ensure that they are initiated on ART if they are found to be also living with HIV, and also for us to prevent them from being infected. If they are not, we initiate them on our PrEP, and also to ensure that we give intense health education to say that the condom use must always be used at all times.
I got you, Mpho. I'm looking at the comments as they come through. I think we're just receiving love, really. But let's quickly jump straight into them. People says we are live. Yes, we are. Oh, and yes, the flip chat is available on www.copin.org. That is our website to find out more about PrEP and the switching from daily to ED, and also from ED to daily. Also, ED PrEP is known as +1, Platformic 2 +1 or event-driven or PrEP on demand. I think it depends on where you are in the world, and as COPIN, we're the only ones in South Africa that are giving this service. Quite amazing. I agree. CD is giving us love. I think Nico as well is giving us love. Thank you so much for the love that you are receiving. This conversation will then be put up for your convenience later on other social media platforms like Facebook, and also, like I said, www.copin.org gives you the behind the scenes. Buhle, I wanted us to talk about the benefits, but I think both Mpho and Sister Pasi also touched on the benefits then of recency. What say you?
So basically, both Sister Pasi and Mpho basically took my notes. as Mpo was saying, that it's basically effective. Its effectiveness,
Mhm.
its effectiveness is very good. And I mean, also the pill burden. I mean, thinking that I don't have to take this pill every time. And also what is great about it, like being able to plan. I mean, knowing that I'm going to have sex, just take, 2 tablets as a loading dose, and then after 2 hours, I'm already safe. So I mean, it has a
Yeah.
yeah.
I got you. Sister Pasi, now we know what we know, especially about HIV, about testing, about the regular testing. Does recency then guide us in terms of ARV intake and how long it has been? I think you touched on this, but please elaborate some more. Or does it only then indicate, the duration of the infection?
All right, so the benefits of recency testing. I know I've been saying this to say recency testing is definitely the future for HIV, for us to curb the spread of the HIV, because it gives us that real-time data. We are able to know who is infected, where and why, and we are able to target prevention. And with that, we are also able to do our hotspot mapping, because it also drives us to say, where is the pandemic? For instance, in Ekurhuleni, where have we had recent infections? And not so long ago, we have the data being presented showing that between the ages of 30 and 35, we have had a high number of recent infections, meaning our youth is highly sexually active, and it means they are not using protection, they are not protecting themselves. Therefore, we should keep an eye on them. Let us invest in them. Let us educate them further. Let us see how we can help them. Hence, we also have event-driven prep. I think Oram Poppin is trying its best to meet the individual's needs, because we don't want to look at a person as a group. We want to look at you as an individual. What is it that you need? So recency testing is able to drive us to the right people and also give help or intervention where it's needed.
Yeah. Mpo, just a question that quite a mouth. Giving up a lot of questions in my head, the ones away from my script. But Mpo, then when you now see, there is a peak in terms of recent infections or infections of HIV at a certain point or a certain location in Durban, what would be the intervention then, to try and I'd say address that peak or address that lack of say information, or because I mean there are a lot of things that would then make people get infected on HIV. So when you see that, which man, I'm trying to think of a location in Durban, but at this location there is a very high peak, or there is a lot of infection. How do you then meet that with your services?
Yeah, your network was a bit breaking, but I think the question is to what interventions do we do in us to target our hotspots. So basically during our outreach, that's why the outreach is there. It's for us to places where there's hotspots, places that are targeted to, places that are known to be hotspots, where there's infections that are arising. So when we get there, we offer our health services, we offer our health education to clients, so that they know that there's services such as HIV testing, with provision of PrEP, of ART management. So it's basically through our outreaches that we are able to target those places and give services.
Yeah. Boucher, the last week Friday, thanks Mpo. Last week Friday we were at a university, Pretoria, for U equals U, and there was a lot of interest when it comes to say HIV, and a lot of people didn't even know that there are then 2 types of HIVs, or there's HIV1 and HIV2. Is that a thing that you then are met with in terms of when you do events or when you give your talks, and when that there is that need for the information to say, but tell us more?
Sorry, V, I didn't get your question. Can you please repeat it? Your network was a bit offish.
My network is hectic. My network is I think is hectic because we are international today. When we are local, it doesn't do this. But I think it looks stable. But I was saying on Friday you were giving talks on we were doing U equals to you, and I think giving U equals to you messaging, and I'm saying there was a lot of interest in terms of the information that you were giving, and I'm saying, do you find that that is the case all the time? Because there is that lack of information that now people want to know more, especially when you spoke about different kinds of HIV, that there's HIV-1 and there's HIV-2. So I'm saying, there is a need for information. People want to learn more. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I really think so, and I feel like that's why there's still people out there having this stereotypic thing about HIV because they don't have much information. So such events actually opens people's minds, let people know. So I feel like such events should actually happen because I feel like people don't really know as much information about HIV as they should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got you. If you just joined us, welcome to it. We are 30 minutes into the conversation and we're about to wrap it up. I think I'm left with just a few questions, but if you want to throw in yours, by all means, do so on our comment section below. I have my 3 clinicians this morning helping us discuss ED PrEP, recency, and gender affirming healthcare. And I was supposed to then ask you guys a general opening question. I think, because I was so excited, just got into the question. But the question, say opening question, or the question that was supposed to lead us was how is then Oran Pop in addressing the evidence and the gaps as a program? Because I think there is a lot of gaps when you look at it. There is quite a lot of gaps, and in terms of Pop in existing, it means that, and I think Sister Basi, you put it quite well, that, we want to then give a person, that we want to individualize a person and give them what they need. So in terms of that, I'm saying, then how are we doing it? I think with all the services, we are definitely doing it. We are addressing the evidence and the gaps with the program. Let's talk about gender affirming healthcare. Sister Basi, we'll start with you. What is it in my view, we are affirming women, and in us affirming women because we have different kinds of women, transgender women, cis women, we have a lot. So there is no one way of being a woman, basically, and we are affirming that. But clinically, what is then gender affirming healthcare?
All right. So for gender affirmation healthcare, Oran Popin has recently engaged with started the gender affirmation healthcare services to our transgender women. So clinically, it simply means we are supporting an individual to come out and be able to express themselves psychologically, biologically, physically, having those physical changes by means of taking hormonal therapy. And then when it comes to psychologically, now it entails coming out, entails you how to behave, how to address the negatives from the society. We will be having psychologists joining us, and as well as an experienced medical officer, and then as clinicians, then we will be able to assist this individual to go through the transition, because we have different types of transitions, and most of the time when you hear the word gender affirmation healthcare, people simply think that now the person suddenly wants to go for surgery. But that is not the case. We are here to help you to come out as a transgender woman, to express what is inside, what you are feeling from the inside, so that it is portrayed to the outside.
Most definitely. And it's a journey. We've themed it, She Popped In, and I'm quite excited about that. And I wish we were speaking to Mami Popin about this. I think, it's one of the projects that are close to her heart. But themed it, She Popped In, and ladies just pop in and, be part of the journey. Then, there is a beautiful there's a beautiful poster that explains the journey. I should have actually brought it in. But, what are the steps then that our ladies take as part of this journey until, she becomes this woman.
Cool.
Remember, we have this. Oh, sorry.
That was for Mpho. I know you are passionate about this as well, but yeah, this one is goes out to Mpho.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much, V. Thank you much, Sister Pasi. I think the first step rather that one needs to take as a woman that they wanting to undergo this journey. Number one, you have to do your own research. You can't tap into a space where you're not sure about things, how do they work and what is it. First of all, you have to know yourself, understand yourself, do a thorough research as to what is it that you are going to undergo. Secondly, there's your clinical care, which is from our side. So with your clinical care, that's when you do your HIV testing to see whether you are living with HIV or you don't have. If you don't have, we issue or provision of your PrEP and ensure that women are adherent. Therefore, we ensure that we continue with their care. For living with HIV, we continue giving them HIV, like ART, that is. And then your psychosocial...
I'm losing you there. So let's I don't know, let move your device about or check your connectivity. I'm losing you there, but and I think it will be the same thing for everyone. But while Mpho does that, Sister Buhle, what would then be the role of each individual, professional individual, involvement through her journey? And I say her because I want to individualize it and say, hey, or speak about the women that pop in, but what would be each professional's role through her becoming the woman that she is. Okay. Looks like even Buhle is having technical difficulties. Sister Pasi, do you want to jump through and give us a response with that question?
What was the question? I'm sorry about that. Can you
the question was then, what would be the involvement of each profession? Ooh, my network. I think my network is betraying me. Can you guys hear me? Just with a show of thumbs to say you guys can hear me. I think my network is acting a bit funny there. Sister Pasi, if you can hear me, my question was, what then would be the role of each individual, professionally, through the journey of that our woman will be then taking.
Right. So number one, we will be having a psychologist, so who will be dealing with the mental health of this individual, helping them to cope. Because remember, if you are a transgender woman and you are unable to go through the transition, it will affect you psychologically, and also the changes as well might affect you psychologically. So hence we have the psychologist that will be able to take you through the journey and prepare you for what you might come across. And then we also have a social worker. A social worker is there to assist us with the psychosocial, being able to conduct those home visits to the family, because remember, transition does not take place to an individual only. Even the family has to go through the transition with this individual coming through. So that is the main role of the social worker. And then we have a medical officer then who will be coming through to initiate the hormonal therapy and assess the blood, do proper investigations, working closely with the clinicians, because most of the time, clients are with the clinicians more than the medical officer. So the clinician will be able then to monitor the side effects, ensure that the client is in good state. And if there is a need for agent referral for psychologist or social worker, whatever the support the client might need, then the clinician can identify that need immediately and refer the client there and there. Thank you.
I've got you. Yeah, I got you. So everyone has a role that they play in terms of affirming women, and I think put it quite well. So everybody in every room there is then important. Usha is back, but Usha, I think Sister Pasi touched on that, on that question that I had for you. Then, you know, my question to you would be, what do you think will be the challenge in terms of rendering gender-affirming healthcare?
So V, in terms of the challenges, right? There was a training we attended, and the guy mentioned one thing that most trans people, when they are like, when a trans person comes to them and tells them, okay, listen, yeah, there's a clinic, yeah, we're doing gender affirming care, they become more easy and more going to do it. So I feel like the challenge would be not much trans people do that, you understand? And then basically the readiness of the client. Some know what gender affirming is, but they didn't really do the research, the side effects, what. So I think the readiness would be that, and then also maybe lack of information. Some people don't even know about it, right? They know maybe that do gender thing, but they don't know where to go. They don't have much information basically, and there aren't a lot of safe spaces for this. But I feel like what we as populations are doing, we are trying to gather all the multidisciplinary teams to actually make it a safe space for them and make this journey the best journey, basically, if I could say. Yeah.
Most definitely. I agree. Mpo, how does it look like in Durban? Are the ladies excited about it? Because I know that we are only giving them HIV, free sexual health care, but now it's becoming more comprehensive in terms of now adding, you know, decency is going to be adding gender affirming healthcare for them. And most of our ladies did not even come and take gender affirming healthcare or for gender affirming healthcare purposes to us. They were just coming in for HIV testing and screening. But in terms of uptake, in terms of support, in terms of, you know, the excitement of the ladies out in Durban, how are they feeling?
They're very much excited. We remember, like Sister Pasi has mentioned, that we do have a psychologist. We also have social workers that we're going to work with. So I think it's a lot of it allay anxiety to them to say that we do our care. Our case being taken care of holistically, not only certain parts are being focused on, but every their health in general. Also, through transgender meetings or the seminar that they have, they're able to sit with other women and get to discuss everything, the challenges that they're going through, and what is it to look forward to. So I think it's more exciting to them to want to actually pursue this transition journey.
Most definitely. Sister Pasi, it's been long coming, but it's finally here. She popped in. We see her. We've envisioned her. We see these ladies, and I think for me, I've had the privilege of being at your space at Orampop in Ekurhuleni, and to enjoy the ladies as they, you know, talk about different topics, for instance. And at some point I was left, you know, I want to say not shocked, but I was left overwhelmed because it was a beautiful thing to see. You know, in terms of the safe space that you provide. What are some of the topics that you guys touch on when they have their seminars or when they have their sessions as ladies?
So we have had sessions talking about understanding trans, you know, basically where we were taking them through the journey of them understanding what it is when we say we are talking about a transgender women, you know, and we've also had discussion about the image, you know, how to manage your image, how to choose the image that suits you, how to ensure that we boost that confidence in an individual, as well as talking about them human rights, you know, their rights as transgender women, because that is very important, and also tackling the gender-based violence that they go through as transgender women, because truly speaking, our transgender women are mostly victims of gender-based violence, and those are some of the topics that we try, you know, to involve in our session. So let them have a relaxed talk session so they're able to share their experiences and also give each other tips on how to cope in certain situations, or in terms of image. You know, another one would say, you know, there's this good lipstick that you can use, you know, to enhance yourself, or certain topics of how to tuck, you know, the tucking, you know, because remember, you are a woman, so you need to be representable. So those different, you know, topics, you know, it's fun. We try to make it not sort of like a formal session, but it's when now friends come in and meet, and then we have that discussion as ladies.
Listen, I've sat in one of those sessions, and it is quite a beautiful space. It's fun, and how they talk about such topics, or some topics like especially tucking. It's like, what, you know, it's like I said, it's just a beautiful experience to see. I wish those sessions were televised, because I think we need that kind of sort of information, you know, readily and available and easily accessible. But guys, I want your parting shots. So prepare your parting shots as we close. I think we are approaching, or actually it is the end of today's International Clinical Monday. But before I do that, before I take your closing remarks, let me quickly go back to the comment section. No Mpumelelo Makapula is giving us this. Thank you so much for watching. Then comes back and says, wow, Sister Pasi, I am most definitely coming through for Konza. The comment then moved. Okay. It says, I'm most deaf coming through for a consultation. Such great service. Most definitely come through. All our clinicians are fun, guys. Devin Mpo has colorful hair, so usually Mpo's shoes match his hair. So that's quite fun. Sister Pasi is the most fun here on stage. Bushe dancers. So it's very much, I don't think there is a clinician, there is a clinic that has such fun clinicians. So most definitely I'll pop in for a service as well. Hippolyne comes and says, well done team, this was super amazing. The standard remains gold. Most definitely happy. You know how we do this, Mr. Producer. Tabang Joseph comes in and sends us love. Thank you so much, Tabang. I think, you know, pop in should give you data and everything you need, because Tabang everywhere on all social media platforms, Tabang is there. Tabang, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And another comment says, yes, it's that the session. The sessions are amazing. This person, that's then the comment moves, guys. Another comment comes and says, thank you for the in-depth understanding of ED prep, and I think it goes out to all our clinicians. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Sister Pasi, let's start with you. Okay, there's another comment. Okay. That is true. VPOP in is most fabulous clinicians ever. Even the person that is commenting, Nico, I've seen Nico in heels. And that picture, Sister Pasi, the very famous picture of Nico, I think it needs to be put up on our wall of fames because, you know, it's people like this who are, you know, peers and who are driving such a peer-led organization. You know, our organization is filled with trans women, it's filled with MSM. So most definitely, if you are part of the LGBTQ+, you definitely feel at home. But then parting shots, Sister Mapaseka, let's start with you. What say you in closing and as we sum it up?
All right. Thank you very much to everyone who has joined into our Clinical Monday today. You know, Aura Pop In is here to cater for all our men who have sex with men and transgender women, ensuring that we cater for them, you know, giving them that comprehensive service and ensuring, you know, that we get a buy-in from the South African government in ensuring that we have increased access into our government healthcare services. And yeah, come in and pop in. I'm at Ekurhuleni. I'm available anytime, WhatsApp, Facebook, you know, technical producer will hook you up. Yeah.
most definitely. Comments still come in. Before I take Bushe's parting shot, Kumi comes back and says, these sessions sound so great. Let's spread the word and reach as many trans women as possible. Hashtag she popped in. That's our pop in. And comes again, yes, we pop in TV coming soon. Hey, listen, I'd love pop in TV. Hey, even pop in radio. I'd love it. I'll do both of them simultaneously all together. Yes, catch see one. bring them through. Bushe, what say you? What are your parting words?
So basically, Via, basically like to say thank you for everyone who was in this live, who watched us, who gave us love. And I'd just like to show all our MSNs, all our transgender, that this is our safe space. This is for you guys. Come through, pop in, you know, we got you with the best nurses ever. I think.
You are. You are. Susan Makatini says, thank you, team, and sending us love. And I agree. Thanks for tuning in. I agree with you. You guys are the best clinicians. I've never seen such a colorful bunch before. Clinicians and stuff, you've been in the health space, in the government public health space, and you know how clinicians are. You know, not to sound ageist, but they are old, they are moody, they are, you know, they're not the nicest. And we always fear nurses. We're like, nurse, you know, they're certain. But here we dance, sing. Here we do TikTok.
Why did I join Pop In? Why did I join Pop In and left them? You know, that's the reason why I'm here.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much for joining in. And I think we should recruit more. I wish you could recruit more, but I think we're doing that with centers of excellence, man, to just, you know, give these public health spaces a bit of touch of Pop In. Is that where like high energies galore? Mpo, you know, your parting shots as well.
Lastly, I would like to encourage everyone to come by, and we are very welcoming. I mean, Pop In as a whole, we are very welcoming, we're very caring. Allow us to take care of your health holistically. I mean, it's one stop, one shop, so everything it's done here. You don't have to go elsewhere for other services. We try as much as possible to offer services to our clients, and also to our gender women. I think it's there's certain few skills that one needs to they need to really think or really consider in terms of being assertive, because as much as we are allowing them to go through this process, there's questions that are going to arise to ask them, how did you go, how was it, how do you do? So I think it's best for them to learn as much as they can, so that they can be advocates even in the outside spaces to other people, to other women and other people that are willing to take on this journey. And also they need to make sure that they try by all means to make sure that their emotional intelligence is at par, because whether we like it or not, our society that we're living in, there's going to be issues or targets or threats or things that are malicious that are going to be said to them. I think it's best if they understand themselves and everyone is willing to center them and take in everything. So emotional intelligence must be at the top of their agenda.
Yeah. Most definitely, I agree with you. That can be learned through one of these sessions that they have on a, I think, bi-weekly. Most definitely, I agree with you 120%. Listen, I'm going to see you guys back again on a Clinical Monday. Hopefully it's going to be another international one, but you know how we roll. We are not always, you know, South African. We jump sometimes, we here or there, but most definitely, thank you so much, Sister Mapaseka. Thank you so much, Sister Bushe, and thank you so much, Mpo, for you know, availing yourselves and giving us an understanding of these three very important interventions when it comes to you know, rendering services and HIV. And yeah, man, I'm gonna see you. I'm seeing some. Okay, I'm seeing you now. Mpo, I'm seeing you guys next week for your U equals to you launch. Sister Pasi, also we are seeing you as well, and thank you so much. I cannot wait for you guys to engage with us further on these platforms and more. Have a great Monday, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty, Mr. Producer, thank you so much for producing such an amazing feature today. Internationally, Happy Paleng, man, he does the things. You know, if you want more of this, most definitely stay tuned. www.popin.org gives you the behind the scenes. To also see who Happy Paleng is, you can, you know, go on the website, but follow us on social media and see more of that. Happy, thank you so much for the great production and the great, you know, crossover. And to everybody who has been tuning in internationally, enjoy the 2022 International AIDS Conference that is currently happening in Canada. Until we meet again, happy streaming. Bye.
Cheers.